you choose to stick around and you continue watching what we're doing, we'll be sharing. I just kind of plan on sharing what we're doing, or primarily what I'm doing. I'm not sure exactly what format I'm going to still do it. I'm thinking about trying to do kind of like a weekly, this is what happened this week. This is where I'm at, this is what I tried to do, this is what actually happened, and see if I can get that up on a weekly basis. That's probably not going to be, it's going to have to be a little bit bigger time gap between that, since it's taken me 6-7 months to even get back to these videos and try to figure it out. But I've learned some stuff in that time period that I think I can start moving forward with making the videos online. So a lot of other things have happened that were helpful. So what do we have? I guess that's a good question. We will be sharing our G.I. Joe, vintage G.I. Joe, Real American Hero time period, and because we have a lot, but we're currently, a lot of that's put away right now. We're currently redoing one of our rooms that we call the hobby room. It's the original room that Aaron tried to keep his toys in. A lot of the NECA turtles are coming out. They've all been going into totes as we collect them, so they're coming out. The gargoyles that we picked up recently are kind of be out. We're working on getting vintage Joes highlighted in that area. Aaron's also been doing the classified G.I. Joes, so they may be highlighted with that new display that we're working on doing in there. But we do have a lot of the original G.I. Joes. I was thinking about, with our transitioning, the My Little Ponies and the Care Bears are out in our living room, and the My Little Ponies come down for the fall to Christmas, and we transition into Harry Potter Legos, Chicken McNuggets, various Fisher-Price advent calendars at Christmas, and Christmas related Muppet babies, and there's a number of different things that we pull out that are Christmas related or Halloween related toys that aren't quite as rainbow colored for those months. And I'm thinking maybe this year we'll try to switch out the Care Bears and get the G1 Transformers out on display into the living room, because they've been up for a while. Still in works, still could change. In our main TV family room, I've got some more work that we need to do in there, but we have added a lot this year to both the Motu Masters of the Universe and Princesses of Power She-Ra lines. So we had them together in one corner, and now they've moved it to two opposite corners from each other and filled out almost 4 shelves each. And then we have kind of a Strawberry Shortcake, Rainbow Bright 80s, 90s themed area, and that needs to move around some, and we'll merge into the She-Ra a little bit. And we've got TMNT out, and we got some vintage Joes there, but that's still maybe moving around. We got Lego in a whole room dedicated to itself that the shelves were leaning in one of the areas, and so we had to pull everything down and change some of the shelves around so that they were back to back to the same size shelf. And then we're gonna bracket all those together and get the displays back up, and so that's kind of a huge mess in there right now, but we're working on it. We have a lot of Lego that we cleaned earlier this year. That was one of the things that I started out the year with, cleaning a lot of bulk Lego, and then as we kind of got through that and got it sorted out, we really started going through vintage sets that we had that weren't built yet, making sure we had inventory correct on them, that all the pieces were there, and are gonna work on cleaning those. But I haven't, it's a huge process when you start cleaning Lego and you're doing it in your kitchen in the middle of everything else that your family's doing. So I haven't got back around to that. It's all piled up under our dining room table right now. So that's, you know, the reality of a lot of what we do is I keep thinking, oh, well, I'll wait until I get things cleaned up and it's more presentable, and then I can share and share just the best of it. But the reality is that most days this is what I'm working on, and it is a lot of cleaning, it's a lot of inventory, it's moving pieces around. It doesn't happen all at once. Things are not wonderfully organized and cleaned everywhere in the house at all times. So if we're going to share and we're going to do it on a regular basis, then you're going to see the good with the bad. And I can show this part of what's going on, but it's easy to avoid what all is going on my desk, which is not clean and organized. So that's the reality of things. And it shows that we are actively engaged in what we're doing. Let's see if I can get this back. That's close enough. So you'll see a lot of those things. I have a whole table of Smurfs right now that I started cleaning because I was going to make a Smurf Village display, one of the things that needs to probably go up in the family room, and bought a number of large collections of them and wanted to clean them up, get them to their best shape and quality and inventory what we got, and been trying to track down houses, which Smurf houses are expensive. So it takes time, and those things have been put on the back burner with other projects that have come up with trying to get things for sale and get the toy show this summer, and health related things that slow me down, and other things that are constantly going on that become a higher priority and need to happen. And so the table of Smurfs still sitting there in the living room waiting to be addressed and finished up and taken care of and turned into this beautiful idea that I have in my head of a display for them that has not happened yet. And then we have a small Star Wars collection. So far this is all we have. Primarily we collect the Tauntauns. That started as a kind of a gag with my son a number of years ago, and they were in his room for a long time, and he's gotten older and said, I don't want all the toys in my room that I had. So they've moved into my space, and I continue adding them as we find them. I like lunch boxes. I like the TV trays. So there's various pieces that we've added and come into this space that have a little bit more overlap with a lot of the different lines that we are collecting and are in the house somewhere, or just things that are sentimental that we remember from our childhood and are fun. I don't think you can see it, maybe you can. There's a ET TV tray and lunchbox, and so some of those nostalgic videos that you know and remember from your childhood that we maybe don't have too many toy lines for. We do have a couple pieces that go along with like ET, but not a huge collect everything line. Some of our lines we are kind of completionists and looking for every piece on, and then other ones it's just kind of the overall idea of remembering that particular movie or show or toy or whatnot. So we do collect in different avenues or different ways, and really feel like to each their own on collecting, and like there's no right or wrong way to do it. So sharing what we're doing is just one way of doing it, and it's fun to see what everybody else is doing too, and what else is out there, or what maybe we need to add at some point. Currently our rule is supposed to be that we're not adding any new toy lines at the moment. We're going to kind of try to complete some of the things that we're working on. We're getting close, and really focus on those, and then we'll look at what's next. A lot of that's going to be based on space because we are running out of it. As creative as we have been to add everything that we have and get it on display and rotating and then storing what's in totes or not being out on display or hasn't been built yet or whatever the piece is, we're just running out of space. So we're hitting a point where either we're going to have to acquire more space some way, or we're going to have to really slow down on collecting and what we have. But there is so much of it still that needs to be cleaned, needs to be inventoried, needs that we can share. There's a lot here that we can still hopefully experience. And then even though we say, you know, we're not going to start any new toy lines, when we were at that toy convention that we were selling at, my husband found a whole bunch of Exo Squad boxes, and those came home with us too. So we started collecting Exo Squad, which had been discussed. It just wasn't necessarily gonna happen at that time. So that's always, you know, part of our fun is you never know what you're gonna find. Sometimes you gotta pick it up because that's your chance. You see it, it's in the right condition, it's what you're wanting, might as well add it at that time. We do also collect a lot of the original boxes. So we do the original artwork that goes along with the vintage shows and the Motu and Transformers. We have a lot of the Transformer boxes, Lego, tracking down those original Lego boxes. It really helps trigger that memory of, you know, opening things up on Christmas morning or for your birthday, or where that feel that you had with the original packaging and the original artwork on some of those pieces is just amazing. When you look at like Motu boxes, they're just beautiful. They're a nice piece of artwork. And then there's also the aspect of when you're trying to track down the history of like what was actually made and what was in prototype versus actually being produced, because sometimes that's confusing. Those original catalogs, original boxes, original copyright dates that you can find on them end up being really useful with those too. So sometimes I'm looking for original packaging just so I can fill in gaps, because one of the things that I thought would be easy when I started looking for toy history and the information to go with different toy lines that we were interested in, the internet has everything on it, right? So it's super easy to track these things down. But there was no internet in the 80s, so things weren't documented or recorded or saved in that format at that time. And so everything that's there about the 80s has been added by someone, and sometimes it's correct, sometimes it's not, sometimes it's complete, sometimes it has huge holes in the information that they've provided. So if I can track down the original paperwork, it definitely helps original packaging. Also takes up a lot of space though. So there is that aspect of what do we do with it and how do we preserve it in a way, if it's something that we value and we see as being a part of the collection, then be able to take care of it when it's not on display and having it stored in a fashion that it's not going to get damaged, or displaying it in a way that really accents the value of having those packages and why you would save them for 40 years or spend money on them now to be able to include them in what we have. So that's where we are. My throat's getting sore from talking because I don't usually talk to people too much during the day. It's Aaron and the dog. Sometimes if our son's home, then I get to talk to him between video games and whatnot. So I've told you a lot of information. I don't know if you're interested in any of it. We will be sharing what we're doing, and it'll grow and change as we go. I know I'm still figuring out the editing and process of making these things happen and putting them out there and sharing them. So hopefully I learn quickly and you're patient along the way of seeing what we have and what we want to share with you, and find something that you're interested in too. Like and subscribe so you can see what's going on with us in the future, like with this new Transformer and mask display we set up.